I guess I should start by saying that Barack Obama was the first president I voted for. At the time, he seemed to be young, vibrant, um, especially in comparison to John McCain. I was relatively young and maybe a little bit idealistic, um, but I still to this day believe that the Hope and Change campaign was one of the best American campaigns, or at least of my lifetime. Um, and he seemed like something that could potentially be a bridge builder, um, or someone that could be a bridge builder. He said all the right things. Um, and maybe this was me being more idealistic and emotional when I was younger, but I still remember how I felt. Felt good about that vote and thought he'd be somewhat of a net positive when it comes to leading this nation. And here we are today. He's a 63-year-old man, and I can't stand him. Um, I think there are several reasons why I can't stand Barack Obama these days. Um, if we're to fast forward to today, it's because he is such an elitist, and he's like the worst type of older person that you want to deal with, who talks about the world from a very ideological framework, preaches about stuff, but he doesn't necessarily live it himself. Um, and the worries that he says that Americans are worried about, he's definitely not worried about those things. Um, and then he sounds like a male feminist now, which sounds so bizarre. Um, for example, when he wanted to campaign for Kamala, and God forbid you ask a question about, I don't know, what kind of leader you're going to be as you're applying for the most important job in the country, and dare people ask that question of Kamala Harris. But here comes Barack Obama leaving Martha's Vineyard to usher his way into a campaign office strategically where the cameras are, talking to the cameras visually in front of black men so he can blame black people, specifically black men, if she loses. Because, if we don't vote for her, we're misogynists.
You're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable.
And dare I say, a lot of us black men grew up in single mother homes, unfortunately. And we didn't have a father in the home. So some of us idealize women. Whether it's right or wrong is a different story. But this idea that we don't like women or don't respect women or we don't respect women who are in positions of authority is a bizarre one for me because we grew up with women in positions of authority. Maybe it's that we're trying to treat Kamala as an equal, just in the same way people ask questions about Barack Obama when he was running. And if my memory suits me, I remember him saying in his initial run for president that he wanted to be treated like everybody else. I could be misremembering things. I'm getting up there in age, but here we are trying to treat her as an equal, and here comes male feminist Obama coming in from Martha's Vineyard. Well, let me say, I can't believe you black men are asking questions of Miss Harris, Vice President Harris. Now, don't make me get Michelle. Verbatim, he said, "Don't make me get Michelle." It's this condescending bullshit that comes from him, and he sounds like an elitist. He sounds like a snob, and he's not the curmudgeon, like, get off my lawn kind of guy, but he's he wears an ascot and he wants to tell you about the finer things in life and oh, how much he cares about the atrocities that are happening around the world. Yes, of course. Would you like some more hors d'oeuvres? He's that kind of guy. That's what he's turned into. Or maybe he's always been that. He just hit it better. But now that he's in retirement, so he can do his stump speeches for Wall Street and get paid $1 million to show up. Maybe now he feels more at liberty to be that guy. But I can't stand him. Every time he opens his mouth, especially recently, every time he opens his mouth, he has a glimpse of, okay, all right, it seems measured. And then he says something that is so disconnected. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from? He went on his wife's podcast and essentially, because I'm not going to speak verbatim, essentially was saying that boys need a gay mentor to learn compassion. But he specifically said one man isn't enough, implying a boy's father. One man is not enough to do the job.
That's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
Mm-hmm. One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned.
And dare I ask the question, would he ever say that one woman isn't enough? To a mother? Oh, one woman? Oh, she can't do everything. But he'll say that about fathers. And I'm a father. And I take that as an insult. Because, yes, one father is enough to teach the basics of human compassion to our kids. They don't need to be around some particular person who happens to have sex with somebody. Like, they don't need that. And that's not a given. There are mean gay people. There are mean straight people. There are compassionate straight people, compassionate gay people. But his lived experience of having a gay professor, which I'm assuming, because he said it was in college, so he must have been in his late teens, early 20s, when he had this professor. All of a sudden, he learned compassion, which is astounding to me, that he was not a compassionate person, didn't fully understand compassion until he met a gay professor in his life. So whether I believe that story or not, let's say I believe that story, that's tragic. And let's say I believe that story, a lot of that stems from him growing up without his father. See, he would understand what fathers provide boys if he grew up with his father, or on the other end, if he raised a boy. But he didn't, he had girls. So he doesn't fully understand what it's like to be a father, to teach a boy to be measured, to teach a boy to be compassionate. You don't put your hands on them. You go over there and apologize, right? Oh, someone hurt you? That doesn't feel good, does it? To teach them these lessons. These are lessons that you teach small children repeatedly over and over and over. And you know who helps do that? Their father. Not some strange gay guy who happens to be somewhere near the family. Their father teaches them that. And so for him to come out of his mouth and less than a year ago, degrade black men for daring to ask a question and to wag his finger and say, get in line. And then here he is, just a week or so ago, the episode dropped with him and his wife, taking an opportunity to say, one man isn't enough for these boys out here. He can't do everything. He can't be all. He said, even the best father, right? Even the best father can't be everything. And man, last time I checked, people go into therapy for years, not because they didn't have a gay mentor. They go in therapy for years because they have their father. That one man, they could have had the best of foster parents. They could have the best of mentors and people around them. They could have been adopted as a baby and had a wonderful family that loved them. But you know what they want? Their father. Man, it seems like people who really struggle in life need that one man after all. Because, he's kind of everything to them. One man can be everything. He would never say that about a woman being a mother. I would never say that. Every child deserves their mother, just like they deserve their father. But here it comes, Barack Hussein Obama. Let me adjust my tie, or let me adjust my my Cosby sweater or some bullshit. And let me speak from my perch. That's Barack Obama, completely disconnected. And his wife, she's a whole other issue. And honestly, I don't care that much about her. But Barack had power. Barack has influence, way more influence. Barack has political influence. Well, not so much anymore because his little stunt, multiple stunts, didn't help Kamala. So I don't think the next election season they're going to really be calling for Barack Obama to come and stump for people. But that's why I can't stand Barack Obama these days. We can go on in the past about him stemming racial division. Instead of cooling things down, making it worse. When he thought that he was going to uncover some hidden racism that's happening that led to Michael Brown's death. Well, he uncovered that Michael Brown, or the people around Michael Brown, were lying, and that Michael Brown actually instigated it. But that's a whole other thing. Thanks to the DOJ accidentally uncovering that Hands Up, Don't Shoot was fake. So you have all these things as to why I cannot stand Barack Obama. This is a man who walked around saying he's a Christian man, and this and that. And man, he doesn't sound like it either. I think he worships himself. I think he thinks that he is the smartest man in the room. And he wears a really good mask, which a lot of narcissists do. But I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, so I won't diagnose him as a narcissist. But I will tell you, a lot of narcissists wear a really good mask, and they say the thing that they think you want to hear. And then they live their life a completely different way, and they move in a particular way. And they move in a way that is absent of care. And that's what I see. I don't see a political leader that cares. And to be frank, I don't really expect much from politicians. But that's who he is. The great hope and change. Barack Hussein Obama, vote for me. Hope and change. Got people crying in Chicago because they think that this man is the symbol of change for American society. But he was much of the same. Bailed out the banks. Didn't really help people. And then the media covered for all his nonsense. He said, no more stupid wars like George W. Bush. I mean, why would I do? Oh, what's that? I increased the amount of conflicts around the world. Oh, okay. Huh. But I was told that his biggest controversy is that he wore a tan suit. Huh. What about running guns into Mexico and Fast and Furious? And no, we don't want to bring up Fast and Furious. Okay. So, yeah, I can't stand Barack Obama now. And I'm saying this as someone who voted for him and as an independent. And frankly, I don't really like many politicians. I don't really trust them. I don't really believe them. I expect very little from them. But there is something different about Barack Obama. And it's not that he's black. It's that he projected himself as a symbol for this nation of actual change. And what has he done? Nothing. He's the status quo. He continued to do everything that he complained about. Never shut down Guantanamo Bay, never slowed down the conflicts, bailed out the banks, didn't reform the system so we don't have uh, any other future issues. All the people who did bad got a scapegoat. Much of the same, but actually a little bit worse, because he was that symbol and he still acts like he's the symbol. He still acts like he's the great black hope as he comes from Martha's Vineyard and gets to tell us what to do and how he sees the world and make up gripes that he has to go through or that we must be going through. But he doesn't give a damn that no one can buy a house. People are struggling. Illegal immigrants are all around us when he was supposed to be the deporter in chief. But he doesn't care about that anymore. At least he had that. He doesn't care about that anymore. Now it's if you want to secure the border, you're a xenophobe. Wow. Well, I guess 2008 Barack Obama would be shocked to hear that. But like, this is who Barack Obama is now. He's a snobby leftist. That's who he is. He will act like racism is the biggest thing that he has to deal with as he goes home into one of his many mansions, as he has brunch with some famous person or flies on a private jet with people that you'll never have access to and lives the most comfortable of life. That's Barack Obama. And then he'll land his plane, get in front of a camera, or get on a podcast mic and tell you that, oh, well, you need more than your father. The fuck is that? So, he will defame fatherhood for the LGBT alphabet mafia. Because that's what leftist snobs do these days. That's Barack Obama. So I have no love for this man. I don't really care about him. He provides me nothing. And generally speaking, I don't focus on him. But I do care that a lot of people still think he's relevant. A lot of people still have these rose-colored glasses and see him as this figure to be admired. He did it. He was the first black president. Oh, we did it, America. We did it. But no, he was much in the same. And he will ride that label, first black. He will ride that label to the day he dies. And he will ride that label to the bank, and he'll ride that label until you're bankrupt. But he won't ride for us as American citizens. He won't ride for the working class. He won't ride for anybody other than himself and people of his economic class. That's who he rides for. Him being black is just a circumstance he had no control over. But guess what? He will ride that to the end. He will use that to his advantage. So, was I wrong about Barack Obama? I don't know. At the time, maybe I was right. Maybe I was right. Maybe he changed. I don't know. But I can tell you today, I can't stand the man. And I voted for him.